All right, what's going on, everybody? Varric here. Somebody had mentioned the other day that the Flamebellow Charge Paladin was a little too GG, a little too perfect gear, which I totally get, right? I do this on Pluggy. I can do this stuff over and over until I get that perfect gear set. So I wanted to do a video here that showed this build in something that's a little more realistic in terms of what you can get in the first couple weeks. So let's check out a cal level. Let's check out the stats and gear. So have some fun and buckle up. Just that easy, right? Yeah, so, I know this is cal level and we're just having some fun, but, with this gear setup, you still can do really well. I mean, as you saw in those videos, I was still one-shotting those cows. And yes, again, it's cows. They're going to die to elemental builds, but I've tried this on other builds. It's still pretty strong, and, it's still pretty end game. There obviously are upgrades, so you're not going to break the bank by doing this setup. So let's just go into the gear. The stats and skills really don't change. I'm not going to go into that a whole bunch. We can start off with that real quick, right? Stats, enough to wear your gear, right? Enough strength, enough dex to wear your gear, and then you just dump it into vitality because you are pretty squishy with this build. Just the build in general, when you're not wearing a shield, you do take a lot more damage. So you really just want to pump it in vitality and do a lot of that fire damage. Skills again, so I maxed out and I am level 90, so I wanted to show again more realistic. So to go into the skills, you're maxing salvation, you're maxing resist fire, and you're maxing blessed aim, right? These are all the synergies of holy fire. So as I said in the last video, you are going to benefit from the holy fire synergies that you're getting from the gear you have. So I'll go into that when we talk about gear. But again, with stats, you're maxing all your synergies, you're maxing conviction because that's what you're actually going to run, and then you're dumping all into charge, right? The rest into charge. You are still putting 1 point into joust, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I do one into joust, I do my synergies, I do conviction, and then I finish off into charge. So what we all want to talk about, let's talk about gear. Really, what have I changed? So what have I changed? I really just took off slams, right? So this, you can imagine you slam this for 4 sockets, right? This is way more manageable to get on the market. You can do it yourself. So the slam 4 socket is pretty common. You'll see that a lot. So this is slam with 4 sockets. This has fire facets in it. Yes. Hellmouth clean, right? Or just pretend it's a random slam. Just a mono leech ring. Dual leech ring is really what you want here. Ravenfrost for the CBF. String of Ears, Gore Riders, Mara's Kaleidoscope, just for that extra resist. Dragon, the nice thing about Dragon is you're really not worrying about rolls, you're not really worrying about slams, you're just getting Sur Low Soul, and you're putting it in a 3-socket armor. And lastly, Guillaume's Face, 3-socketed. This goes pretty cheap early on. I mean, throughout all the game, throughout the whole season, it's pretty cheap. These drop a lot, people slam these a lot, so you can definitely get this. Now, there are 5 facets in both of these, so that, yes, that is 7 facets, but you really don't need the pierce. As I talked about in the last video, we have minus 60% here, we have minus 45% here, so we're already at over 100 pierce, which is really unnecessary. I think once you get to 100, you kind of don't need to go any further. As mobs start to go below 0 pierce, right? As their resistances start to go below 0, you benefit a lot less from pierce. So you don't really need 5/5s. You can put 5/4s and get away just fine. So anyway, that is pretty much the gear I'm wearing. I do have a CTA and Lilith on swap. So while yes, this is not like the most budget build, this is pretty straightforward and something you can definitely get within the first couple weeks. All these pieces are pretty straightforward and are not going to break the bank, and maybe 4 or 5 HRs in total to do all this. So yeah, not bad at all. And then lastly, with your charms and in your inventory, this is probably going to be almost just as expensive, maybe a little less, but Torch, Annie, right? And then you have 72%. So this is a full inventory of large charms. So, hey, that's gear. The nice thing is you don't have to worry about infinity, right? Because you're putting on conviction yourself. But let's go into Merc's gear. Pride, another expensive one. Yes, I understand. Flickering Flame, pretty cheap, but you're going to have to roll it a couple times. Templar's Might doesn't have to be 8, right? You're just getting yourself a little extra physical damage from this setup. And then Lava Gout, String of Ears, Marrowwalks. But yeah, that's your Merc. I'm running Act 2 Defiance Merc, so you do get the little extra defensiveness, because again, you are pretty squishy, especially since you're taking off the Crown of Ages that I did in my last video. You're losing a little bit more of your defensiveness, so you definitely want to make sure you're getting a little more PDR and defense. So, but yeah, really guys, that is it. I did just want to show more of a budget build. I wanted to show more of the gear set that you can actually use, that you can realistically get within the first couple weeks. And yeah, I wanted to have a little fun editing that Cal level. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not going to show you the full like Cal run. I'm not going to show you any other runs. Yeah, you can imagine how it does. You know, the last video, the damage is really not too far off than the last video. This is still really a good build. You're still getting great Pierce, great Mastery, and great Deadly Strike for that physical damage. But yeah, that's it. That's the build. Let me know what you think. As always, like I say, I do try to do these videos a lot. So if you do like the videos, please subscribe. There should be a button at the bottom right of your screen for a subscribe button. So I'd love to have you guys following and supporting the channels. But yeah, anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out there, and I'll see you and have a good rest of your day. Bye.